Smith with GottaBeMobile.com. I'm going to show you what's new in iOS 9 and walk you through some of these new features, as well as explain when you can expect the iOS 9 release date. Apple announced iOS 9 this summer, and we expect that you'll be able to download it on September 16th, probably around 10 a.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. There's a beta right now that lets you try out some of these new features on your device if you sign up for it, and on September 9th you'll probably be able to download it and use it on your device for free without registering for the beta. Now, as far as devices that can run iOS 9, we have the 6 Plus here. It also works on the iPhone 6 all the way back to the iPhone 4S. It works on the iPad 2 and newer, iPod Touch 5th generation and newer, and iPad mini and newer. Basically, if it can run iOS 8, it can run iOS 9. So you're going to get a lot of these new features. Now, if you have an older device, you will see some cutoff where you're not going to get exactly the same features that we're going to show you here today. Siri has a new look in iOS 9, and Siri also respects if you have the mute switch, it will not give any kind of audible feedback. Now, one of the cool things you can do with Siri is you can control Apple Music and you can access some historical things. Play the top song from May 2000. So if you have a date that's in there, you'll be able to pull up a special song or just hear what was popular at a certain time. Now, we can also use Siri to set reminders for specific things. In this case, I want to remember to watch this video about the iPhone 6s later, so I'm on this webpage. Remind me to look at this tonight at 10 p.m.
Okay, I'll remind you.
And so Siri can pick up this, and it knows that I'm talking about this specific thing. Now, if you have everything set up, you can even do this, like remind me when I get to my car. If your iPhone connects to CarPlay and knows that it's going to be there. There's a lot of cool new Siri features just in iOS 9. Now, search is also amped up on iOS 9, and Siri's kind of powering this. They talk about Siri being predictive. So we got some Siri suggestions for apps, people to talk to, and there's these new nearby options where I can tap on like restaurants, and it's going to pull up restaurants that are close to me here in town, and I can check them out and see more information about them. Here's another new feature that you'll see in the corner here. It says back to search. So when you go from one app to another in iOS 9, you can tap that and go back to your previous app. It's really handy and a really nice way to jump around. Now, you can also access a similar screen by pulling down. You're going to get app suggestions, and you can search. And in iOS 9, you can actually search within apps. So if you have notes in Evernote or notes somewhere else or a specific news item, etc., you're going to be able to look in more than just your apps that are available here. But app developers do have to turn that on before we can show you how that works. We are going to see iOS 9 deliver your habits better. So when you go somewhere, say every morning you always listen to music, when you go running and you pair a specific headset to do that, it should be able to start picking up on that. That also carries over to the Mail app, where it's going to be able to remind you to include someone in an email. And you'll also see if you get a phone call from someone who's unknown, but their phone number shows up in your mail, it will tell you a best guess as to who that person is. Other cool new features are in Apple Notes. So with Notes, we have a lot of new options. If we go to a new note here, we're able to type if we want, but we can do much more. We can start a checklist. And if we want, we can also add a picture in here. So we'll take a photo and we'll use that, and it's going to drop that photo right in here. We can also draw on our image. We can even add a ruler Move that around, switch colors. So there is a lot that you can do. You can check off your checklists. Notes is way more powerful. This all syncs between all of your iOS and OS X devices. You will need to upgrade your computer to OS X El Capitan later this year to have this functionality sync to those other devices. Passbook is no longer in iOS 9. Apple replaced it with Apple Wallet. So with Apple Wallet, you have your passes that were normally there. You can now do store loyalty cards. Discover is coming. There's a lot of new options here. When you're on your lock screen, you can actually double tap your home button, and if you have Apple Pay set up, it will pull up that information so you can choose the card you want and use that. We also have more security options in iOS 9. You'll see there are 6 circles up here. So instead of a 4-digit passcode, I can use a 6-digit passcode. There is now a new Apple News app. So you can go in, you can tell Apple what news you're interested in, and then you'll get updates about them. Now, when you go into these, you'll see that you get a nice looking layout with nice photos. You have video built in here. So it's kind of a nice look for news, and you can get alerts emailed to you. You can see I have 3 new articles. You can choose favorites, explore, save. Really handy way to check in on your different news items that you want to follow. Now, if you're on AT&T, there's a cool new feature this year. Last year, we saw Apple add simultaneous voice and data for Verizon users, and we also got Wi-Fi calling for T-Mobile users. Now, if you're an AT&T user, we can go in and turn on Wi-Fi calling.